So only last week I had to make the unfortunate decision to put my cat Lily to sleep. Now, I've had pets through most of my life, I would say. I think since I was about 15 or 16 years old when I got my first cat, which was Tyson, and had her for, I think, nearly 15 years. And she lived to be about 23 years old. And she supported me through so many hard times that I'd had growing up. And then with getting my most recent cat, Lily, who I had to unfortunately put to rest because it was discovered that she had a tumor or a cancer that was totally inoperable. It was the size of a small orange. And she had come to that point in her life where she was starting to suffer. And I, along with my parents, had made the conscious decision to not let her suffer and put her to rest. But Lily as well was just so supportive for me through even some of my harder times in more recent years with losing people and loved ones that I knew as well. And I genuinely feel that having a pet makes all the difference in the world for people who have a lot of anxiety, social anxiety, depression, PTSD, and whatnot. And I'd like to really go over what those points are in this video. Now, I don't know if you're someone who currently has a pet, or you've never had a pet, or maybe you once upon a time had a pet. Doesn't even have to be a cat. It could have been like a dog or a chinchilla or something. But I do believe that having a pet in your life is so important to help you with your anxiety. I think it makes all the difference in the world. And if you'll give me the opportunity to, in this video, especially if you stick with it, I'd like to give you my case as to why I believe that everyone should consider getting a pet if they have a lot of anxiety. So I think my first point would be the unconditional love that you get from a pet, which is, I think, really the obvious one that most people would agree on. That whatever kind of day that you're having, even whatever kind of personality type you are, whether you're introverted, extroverted, shy, confident, angry, sad, you name it, as long as you treat a pet with respect and love, like, they are just there for you. They'll just be around for you to stroke and keep you company for whatever emotions you are currently feeling at that time. And I know growing up, I mean, I had a roller coaster of emotions and experiences where, I used to really be angry at the world because I didn't really have that many friends. I didn't really socialize that much. And I always really wondered, like, why I wasn't in relationships and why I was like such a late bloomer, when in reality, although I might have been angry at the world and expecting, the world to come to me, the reality though was that it was really the other way around. Like, I just wasn't taking responsibility and putting myself out there enough and socializing enough to get the relationships or the friendships that I wanted. But when you've got a pet that you are essentially kind of like telling all these problems to, or they are just around you whilst you're dealing with all of this stuff, like, they don't care, what's going on. They just want to be loved. They just want to be near you. However much you feel like you're angry at the world or pushing the world away, or even with how you maybe feel if you're alone, they are just there. They're there for you to speak to and be close to, and in a way kind of act like a therapist as well, which kind of leads me, I suppose, onto my second point, that, when you've got a pet, like when you've got a cat or a dog or whatever, they just listen. you can talk about anything to them, then there's obviously no way of them to judge you. But I think, to quote an old school band or boy band, I'm sure it's Take That or Boyzone maybe, but there's a lyric that says something like, you say it best when you say nothing at all. And it's amazing how you feel when you're telling your problems to a pet, or you maybe can't express yourself and you just don't know or can't find the words to say out loud, that just having company can be all you need to heal from your problems. And I had moments like that. And I know definitely with Lily, especially in some of the losses that I've had of friends in recent years, where, she's not really much of a talkative animal, but just having her around and, just being able to stroke her just helped. Just that silence, that I don't need to say anything. I don't need to explain myself. I don't need to express it. I just need someone just to be with me and help me through this problem that I've got, through just having company. You get that from a pet. And with people who do have anxiety, sometimes there is no words to express how you're feeling. You just know deep down, that there is a problem there. And just being with a cat, a dog, whatever, does wonders. It just somehow, I can't even put my finger on it, but it just sort of somehow just solves all of your problems in just a moment. Which kind of leads really onto the next thing, that having a pet does actually distract you from the problems that you've got or the anxiety that you've got, and it puts your focus onto them. So like, there were many moments that I've had, like if I've had like stressful days with work, if I've had an argument with someone, if I've been upset about something, if I've really felt the anxiety because of maybe something that's happened that's made me feel this way, it's always been the scenario that Lily would come into me in a cute little way and just jump on my lap and just expect to be stroked. Or she just knew that if ever I was really, really stressed, she would just climb on me and just lay there and expect me to stroke her. I mean, she was a little madam. Let's call it what it is. But I would start stroking her, and suddenly I would just start feeling better. My mind would just be focused off of the problems or thoughts that would be going on in my head, and I would be thinking about how am I grooming her? Like, is she happy? Is she enjoying it? And she'd always give me this beautiful smile and soft eyes as I would be doing it. And all of my problems would melt away. All of those anxieties would just, at least disappear in that moment. And I think when you've got a pet who's around you constantly, you'll be amazed at just how fast and how many times all of those anxieties just dissipate. You forget about them, and you just feel happier in yourself as you're looking after a pet. Now that does kind of lead on to my next one, my next point, that having a pet does involve a lot of like responsibility and accountability, and taking action by being very disciplined with looking after someone else, because of you're essentially taking responsibility for someone else's life. Now I know, especially for me, when I've had moments in my life that I have had like depressive bouts, and when you've got a pet around, however sad or upset you're feeling about yourself, it takes your mind off of it when it's their food time and you need to give them something to eat. Or if they've gone to the toilet and you need to clean their toiletries, their litter tray, or for people that I know who've got dogs even, they need to go and take them for a walk because it's now that time that they need to, get their regular workout in. It also takes your mind off of those things. You feel like, as much as you want to wallow in your misery, you just have to get on with life. You can't just keep bemoaning. You have to get on with stuff. And these, defenseless animals, they need someone to look after them, because if they aren't capable of looking after themselves, and if they're neglected, then you're actually going to cause them harm. And when it's a loved one, you just find you automatically do not want that to happen. You want to be as caring and as responsible as possible. And I think if you have a lot of anxiety and depression, being able to take care of someone else, it really does take you out of that depressive state. And I've known people, of course, who have committed suicide. And I think, interestingly, they have never had pets. And when you've got a pet, it just totally takes your mind off of your problems and gets you to remember that you need to look after someone else or something else to keep them alive. That is your responsibility right now to do it. Now, I'll even say as a caveat, though, looking after and owning pets isn't for everyone, and it really is a responsibility. And I'll certainly hold on to the statement that, a pet is not just for Christmas, whatever kind of time or occasion it is over the year. Like, it can't be just a birthday present. It can't be just, a New Year's gift thing or a Christmas gift. Like, if you're going to have a pet, like, look after them. But and they're also not cheap either. I can certainly tell you that. Like, they are expensive, but when you're looking after someone that you love, you'll find like money is not really an object. And again, you feel even more responsible. It's like, I might have problems, but I can't think about that now. If my pet is ill and I need to take them to the vet to look after them and make sure that they're safe and make sure that they're healthy, so I can carry on stroking them and having that love and support from them going forwards every day for however long that they are here on this planet with me, then you'll do it, and you'll find that you will have a lot less anxiety because of it. And that's just really just from experience. That's not even a professional or medical bit of advice there, but just as someone who certainly had a lot of anxiety growing up and had a lot of moments where I've experienced loss and heartache and just all sorts. I just found that having a pet around me and having to look after them really, really did help me to stay focused and to just stay motivated and not just want to, stay in bed and just, never get up. So it's just something to certainly consider there. So number 5, I know I haven't really sort of like been saying the numbers, but number 5 is that they help you with loneliness. So many guys that I've met, and even for me as well, when I was younger, it was incredibly hard to live life happily because I always felt so alone. And just having company, like with that second point that I made about, they don't even need to say anything, but just having company with you really can make all of the difference. When you're coming home from work and there is your pet, literally like trotting and running towards you, the fact that they're like daddy or whoever has just come home again, it's the most warmest feeling. You feel desired, you feel loved, and that is such a healthy thing to experience. If maybe you've not had a relationship, maybe you've not really had friendships and stuff, it just seems to teach you subconsciously and subliminally how to love and care and show respect for other creatures, be it that human or otherwise, in your life. And there's just something really wonderful when you're walking through your house and your pet just wants to keep you company, or she's fast asleep upside down on the couch and you can hear her snoring, and that the house feels alive. It just feels like there is someone there and that you just aren't alone. Which then kind of leads on to number 6, which I've sort of leaned on already, is that they just teach you how to love someone else. I think even before I had relationships, I had no idea how to love someone. I didn't even know what that felt like. And I think it's even really hard for guys, or just for anyone, if you've grown up in life never to experience that. Whether you've got like a mental health issue or not, anxiety or otherwise, I think it's heartbreaking to never experience love. It's certainly even harder to experience a loss of love, but to never have experienced love at all. And I know there's a metaphor with that, or a quote, but I think it makes all the difference with just growing up and having that sensation, that feeling of love and affection for someone, and having that reciprocated back as well through that, again, unconditional love that you might experience, or just how they don't even say anything. They look at you. A pet can look at you with such desire that, again, your anxiety problems just melt away. They just disappear. And I think, just as the last point as well, because I can also feel I am getting a bit emotional, but I think just as that last point, for number 7, is that they sense your anxiety and your worries and your depressive moments. And it's always usually at those points that they come to your rescue. I can count on hundreds of hands the amount of moments that, so I can count on hundreds of hands, just literally the amount of moments that Lily would come to my rescue. That if I was feeling really low, if I was upset, if I just needed someone there, like a superhero, she would just come to my rescue and she'd keep me company. And again, like I mentioned with all those other points, everything would just disappear, and she would just bring me back to that neutral, happy emotion and just help me through it. Now, you can kind of tell that the emotions are still running somewhat high for me, and it is very difficult to let go of a pet. But I will most certainly be getting another animal in my life. I don't know how soon. I'll probably have a slight break from Lily whilst the heartbreak is still there, but I just know the importance of having a support animal, and I enjoyed every moment that I did with Lily, knowing that I had her in my life, and I embraced every moment that I could with her. And if you are someone who has a lot of anxiety, consider it, do the research in it, work out costs and stuff. But I can assure you, having a pet is one of the most greatest things that you can do to help you with your anxiety. So like and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching my video.